bothered. All right, guys. I think this is our third episode we're doing. I got my buddy Dennis Howery on here. He's got a horse sale up in, I guess, Southwest Virginia. Would that be?
Yes, sir.
Not West Virginia, but Southwest
Southwest
slash
Virginia, Tazewell County.
Virginia,
Yes, sir. Right
Tazewell
there on
County.
that borderline.
All right. All right, Dennis. Um, I guess start with I I was trying to think last few minutes where we met. I guess it was through Zach. I imagine. I think.
I think it was there at one of the horse sales right there. But yes, sir. I
Yep.
believe it was through Zach. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, Zach, he's a shrimp boat captain.
Yeah,
Last I heard, if he caught two more shrimp, he'd have enough for a cocktail.
Bubba Gump right there. Yes, sir.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
now I guess he's a tugboat captain. But we can't not give Zach a hard time.
Yes, sir.
So, anyways, tell us a little bit about yourself and where you grew up and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, if we'd done that, we'd be here all day.
You can
I'm
give us
Dennis
the
Howard.
short version.
Short version. I've lived Nebraska, a little time in Kentucky, Mississippi, a little bit in Alabama, Virginia. I've just kind of been around. I grew up in foster care and was passed around from here to there. My foster family, they actually
Oh,
had a higher end racking horses, and that's
oh,
where I
okay.
learned to like horses at. And I was down in Mississippi, and neighbor was a cutting horse trainer, Andy Logue, and Andy gave me a job up there shoveling stalls. And that's where I learned the horses, and I ain't never been good enough to train them, but I guess just buying them and selling them kind of a lot easier for most people.
Well,
That's that's
the,
where I'm at there.
that cleaning stalls is where most everybody that's done it. That's where you learn probably the most.
It took me years to be able to finally get on a horse, but I mean, in all seriousness, it is you either have it in you or you don't. And I come back to Virginia and started a family, and we started this horse sale up right here. And actually, Todd, last year, as far as my knowledge, as far as the State Department says too, it was the largest horse sale in the state of Virginia. Uh,
Okay.
we had averaging around 300 head of sale. In our September, we had a really good run in September. Our top five averaged 12,180. Top 10 averaged 1069. Our top 15 averaged 9,400, and our top 20 averaged 8,440. And I mean that's pretty good numbers.
Yep.
You know,
I I'll say I've only been able to get to one of them, and from the time I pulled in, I mean, your people took good care of me, got me checked in, checked out. I mean, there's plenty of room to ride. I mean, a lot of vendors. It surprised me how many vendors y'all had set up there. It was
well,
really
this the Southwest Virginia area is really starving for horses and something in the equine. Everybody wants to do it, and it's kind of just lost its touch, with just the older people getting out of it, and the newer generation. They don't. There's nowhere for them to do it at. Our
yep,
plan is down here in the bottom. We're hoping to open up the arena down here, maybe have some roping, some barrel racing, some sortings and pennants. Hopefully that'll be kind of by middle of the summer is our plan. Uh,
right.
my partner right there, he lives in North Carolina. Me and him, we've traveled around the world trading horses. You know how it is, and
Yep,
talking to people. And the horse community seems very big, but it's very small too. Everybody knows everybody. But we
yep,
try to go off word of mouth here. We try to keep our word. We expect when you bring a horse here to sell it and be honest about it. If he's no count, just say he's no count. That man will probably still buy him if he's no
and
count.
the thing is, and I've seen some people call them unsound, cripple, this and that, and they bring more than they would.
Yes, sir.
You
If
know,
you're
so
honest, people will work more with you. But I mean, we've had a heck of a sale, and I mean, we try to really, we're cheaper. Try to do cheaper on commission because we know how it is. We're not trying to get rich out here. We're just trying to make the equine better out here. If you have a place to buy and sell them, they're better taken care of. And every we all love horses and stuff, but it ain't been what 10, 15 years ago. You used to drive down the road and you'd see them starving in fields. You
yeah,
know, just dying left and right. But then they didn't have a value. Now these horses have a value,
yep,
and with them having a value, people will take care of them better. You get them out of them hands that people who can't afford them to people who can't afford them and can't afford to take care of them.
Right.
And everything we do in the equine industry, from down from the these little cheap ponies to these $150,000 horses, it really takes a everybody has to work together.
I tell
But
you, it's gotten so expensive. I mean, grain, hay, my son sent me a old bill that his grandfather had, and I think it was 1997, which was a while ago, but not too terrible long ago. He bought 520 bales of hay for a dollar. I think it was $1.90 a bale.
yeah, I remember going with my dad, Rex Billups, over here to a place called Bland, Virginia, and they went from 75 cents a bale to a dollar a bale. And this has been, I'm 30, I was probably 7 or 8, so 20, 22 years ago, and nobody knew how they was going to do it, how they was going to feed them animals at a dollar a bale. You call anybody now, and it's it's for quality hays anywhere from
Yeah,
$8 to $12 a bale for grass hay.
yeah.
You know,
I And same with grain. I can remember getting mad when grain went over $10 a bag. I was like,
yeah.
I don't know how, you
No,
know.
but you look everything else around you. It's just everything's inflated.
Yeah.
Horses, trucks, trailers, houses, minimum wage. What is it up in your country now?
I think I know the probably 15 bucks, 12, $15 an hour. I
I
know.
think they just raised it like to 420 something an hour. Dude, when I was 16, I was up there shoveling them barn stalls for $5 an hour, and I thought I was getting rich. You
Yeah.
know,
Well,
but
I had a neighbor lady that had Arabians lived right next door to us, and nobody in my family had horses at all. My grandfather, way before I was born or even thought of, they had work horses and stuff, but they were long gone before I got involved. And I used to go over to that neighbor lady's and clean them stalls just, and if I was lucky, she might take me to the Dairy Queen when it was over and buy me a ice cream cone or something.
yeah,
And, but I'd get on them Arabians over there. I got off from school at 3 o'clock. She didn't get home till 5, and I'd go over there and ride them colts. And I don't know if she knew or didn't know, but
yeah,
why I didn't get killed when I was a kid doing that. But I just had that, like you said earlier, that horse bug's in you.
is
It's
it in you or it ain't?
it's it's probably stronger than drugs. I
It
I
is.
I always joke, say at least with drugs, you got a place you can go to get off them. I don't know if somebody started a horse rehab, they might become rich. All these guys can send their wives,
I
save.
agree. I
But
agree.
what, how about your partner Landon? I know him pretty well too. He's always been a really good guy. How'd y'all come up with this idea to get it started?
Honestly, we talked about it. Me and Landon's kind of we just do things out on the whim. Like when I met Landon, he called me and he said, he was talking about I just got back from Bowie. He said I'd like to go to Bowie. I only went one time. I was about 18, 19. And he said, "Man, I'd like to go out there." And he was 16 or 17. I said, "Okay, well, let's go." We didn't know each other from Adam, and this was like on a Monday. He hopped in the truck on Wednesday, and we left out across country together.
Yeah,
And that's how
that's
we met each other. And this is kind of how we done this too. I said, "Let's have a horse sale." He said, "Okay." And I come down here and talk to Miss Amanda Bailey that owns the market, and she said she'd be fine with it, and she'd been really willing to work with us and help us in every way. And I think until the day before the sale, he thought we was just playing. And then we actually done it and pulled it through there. And I mean, we done really good. I was looking over our taxes. I mean, it actually the barn didn't make a lot, but the money was there. The money's there. Uh, I mean, you any sale anymore. If you get 200 plus head at a sale, you're doing good.
oh yeah.
You know,
And the problem with Virginia and a lot of other states, and I wish there was something we could do about it to fix it, is the Coggins test. You know, you got to
well,
have the Coggins hand, I believe. Did you all get an exemption for that or?
No, you have to have Coggins in hand,
Yep.
and that can be aggravating. But really, on my point of view, and the way I look at it, is it's safest for the horses,
Yep.
safest for people buying them. Would it be a lot easier to have a vet here? Absolutely. But Virginia state law, that's how it has to be done, and we just got to abide by it. But now, it's a double edged sword, because on the other end of that, these people, when you're buying them, you don't want to buy a horse that somebody just picked up yesterday in the country or down the road, know nothing about it. Most everywhere you go, it takes a week, 2 weeks to get your Coggins back.
Yep.
So as long as they have that Coggins and it's in their name, they've owned that horse for 2 or 3 weeks. You
Right.
know, not saying you'll know everything about that horse in that time, but they know a little bit more. They can represent that horse a little bit better. Less problems of getting sick or anything like that, and less chance of it.
Well,
So, I mean, I will say, I think with that Coggins, happen to have that Coggins, we do get a little better quality of horse. You don't
yeah,
get the ones that's just
yeah,
pulled out of the country.
that probably is true. It is nice though if, I was bringing one and I
It,
got
it
another one here. I'd say, well, I can bring out, I can't take it because it ain't got a
yeah.
Coggin. But it does get you planning and I guess it gets your catalog together a little better too.
It's a double edged sword. You
Yeah.
know, it'd be handy and nice, but it's not something that we're going to be able to change or talk to anybody about.
Well,
You know,
I think people get used to it and it sure doesn't look like it's hurt your numbers at all.
we was very very scared about it, and a lot of people was very negative about it and said, "Oh, you'll never make it work because you got to have a Coggins in hand. You'll never make it work." But I've learned we have a lot of quality consigners. We get a lot of people who know what they're doing. They got the horse. They know the horse. They already have the horse's Coggins, and it has. I don't believe it's affected us in any way.
Well, I will tell you, when I went there, of course, there's several people that I knew, and I've
Yeah,
been going to horse sales forever around this area, and there was a bunch of people there that I did not know and had some really, really nice stalls, horses.
yeah.
I think the guy that I was stalled next to had the high selling, I think it may be a cutting bred roan yearling. I think it brought
That was
pretty
out of a son of metallic cat out of the four
right.
sixes
That's
pistol.
right.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
yeah.
Haythorne Ranch bred.
And I
Uh,
think that guy, if I was right, was he from Alabama?
He was from Alabama. We have people from Alabama, Mississippi, Louisiana, Kansas, Nebraska, Oklahoma, Texas. I mean, you're looking at about 30 different states there. And
Yeah,
that just goes back to that old thing, kind of like you know everybody in the country, and you call, you're good to people, they'll come support you. Uh,
yeah.
at this next sale right here, it'll be about the same. We got some boys coming out of New Jersey, Pennsylvania. We've got some horses coming out of Oklahoma. Uh, I've got a really good friend of mine. He's bringing up some from Mississippi, and I got another good buddy of mine bringing home some from Kansas. Some really good using horses out in Nebraska. There'll be a little bit for everybody. But with that being said, a lot of people want gated horses. We'll have gated horses here. Uh, we got some gypsies coming. We got a colt out of an own son of Stevie Ray Vaughan coming, a
Oh,
2025 model. A
heck
lot of
yeah.
really nice cow cutting type horses.
Them Stevie Ray Vaughans, they're hard to buy public, let alone at a.
Public auction. Yeah, we've been very fortunate. Just like that colt that Mr. Ben Phillips had there last year. I mean, that was a really nice colt. He was right. He had the part. He had the breeding.
Yeah.
Uh, but we try to do a really good job advertising too. A lot of people don't realize that we spend thousands of dollars advertising horses before that horse ever makes it here. You know,
Well, I think that's with a lot of horse stuff people don't realize. They're like, oh, he's got 200 horse there collecting all that commission, and your office worked really well. And, people don't realize all the paychecks and expenses. It does look like, oh, they're making tons and tons of money, but by the time you get done deducting everything, you
I
know.
think it was
Yeah,
$1,200 just advertising on the radio for a month.
yeah,
Every bit of that adds up. Facebook ads. I mean,
yeah,
everybody thinks Facebook's free. It is not free. I can promise you that.
yeah.
Uh, I'll be spending this weekend out here cleaning the barn, spraying everything down with bleach, getting everything ready, shavings. I've got a couple dump trucks coming in to haul out manure that anything left over. We go through, we do a full sweep of everything. It's a lot more to it than just meets the eye. It really
Yeah.
is. But it's very enjoyable. I like to do it. I love for coming to my community. Everybody really likes it. We sell stuff outside, trailers, trucks, whatnot. I think we got a couple aluminum trailers coming. Uh, and tack. I mean, the tack it starts at 11 this year. We was
Uh-huh.
doing at 10, but it'll be at 11 this year. Outside items at 1 and horses at 2. You know, but the way I see it now, this is it's only what you make it.
Right.
If we have these customers that will come to us, consign their horse 2 to 3 weeks out, we have online bidding. We set up transportation for people. You get your horse consigned in here early. Get us good quality pictures. Not go out there and snap one of him eating out of the hay bale. Get good confirmation pictures, be able to showcase that horse. That's how you get the most money for it. Everybody says, well, my horse didn't bring enough. Well, your horse had mud on his legs. You didn't clean him up. He's 100 pound underweight. You've got to give us something to sell for us to sell it for you. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Oh
You know,
yeah. The pictures and videos, and I hate doing pictures and videos as much as anybody, but I've had people send me videos of a horse and they're in the arena riding it, and their grandfather's parked a half a mile away while it's raining and the windshield wipers going, videoing the horse. You can tell it's a horse, but other than that,
people want to see that. They want to see them legs getting picked up, down, crossing logs, river. If he's a
yep,
roping horse, go put him in the box and get some videos. We got a huge flat screen TV in here this year. We're going to start showcasing and be able to with the videos you send us, we can play up there. So if you got a
right,
horse that we'll rope, we can play them up there while you're auctioning off, and it ain't just off word of mouth. I can tell
right.
you my horse can drive my truck, but until you see it, you ain't going to believe it.
You
You know.
exactly right.
You get good videos and let us showcase.
Yeah. I tell you what, I guess it's the way the world's advancing, but I would have never thought 20 years ago how many people buy horses off of video, never ride them. I probably sell 100 a year here from the house, and I bet you 65, 70% of them. And it looks like the percentage goes up every year. I just sold one on an online auction, and the lady that bought it and give quite a bit for it, never called me, never, just went strictly off the videos and the write up.
What I mean, the people, and it'll be them better horses.
Yeah,
Them cheaper horses don't do as good.
yeah,
Them people want to come look at them. But if you have a horse, and I've sold several for that 15 to 20 marker, that if you just have a good video of this horse, the people who are buying it can tell off that video what that horse is.
right.
There's certain little tricks and keys to it. But I would agree with you. I'd say 85 to 90% on me that just goes over video, word of mouth. But I've been doing it for a very long time, and you have too, and that reputation goes a long way. You know,
Yeah, I always say I'll try to, as long as everybody's respectful and all that, we'll try to, find you a different horse. It's hard to give people their money back, but sometimes you got to do it. But sometimes a
yeah,
horse you think is going to fit perfect, it might not work in their situation. And, you find them a different one and might work perfect. And that one that didn't work for you might work great for me. Yeah.
yeah,
You
yeah. As long as somebody calls me back with respect, I'll work 110% with them. But just I don't care if I'm at the house, if it's a horse, or if you buy a hamburger from me. You start getting hateful and cussing me, and we're kind of done right there. That's it.
yeah.
You
Yeah.
know.
Yep. And, I think the internet and social media is a great thing, but it is also makes people say and do stuff they wouldn't do if I was standing right in front of you.
I agree wholeheartedly. Yes, sir.
Oh,
Yes,
and
sir.
and another thing, we could talk about if you want to is the old, you know, why is a horse going to a horse sale? It must not be any good. It's going to a horse sale. It can't be any good.
Well,
Let,
with
let me
that
hear
being said,
that.
my opinion of that is, and I've gotten to a point of it too. It's a lot of aggravation, just like we just talked about, trying to sell one on the internet. You get 4,700 people message you, this and that, and then they just want to be nosy. They don't really want to buy the horse. I've sold horses at my house, and or was going to sell them at my house for, let's say, $5,000. I take this same horse to a public auction, I bring 8,000.
Yeah,
Just because it's at auction don't mean it's a bad horse. Sometimes that public auction horse is better than if they sold it to you at home, because they want to showcase it and in that setting. And here's my opinion about it, and I'll do the same. I might come to your house and bid you on this horse standing in your field,
yeah,
and it might not be that much. You take that horse, you clean that horse up, you make that horse look like something. You bring it in here, you ride it around, you showcase it. That horse, I might give another 2 or 3 thousand, and
yeah,
maybe more. You don't know. And if I do that, somebody else is going to do that, and you might get double your amount of money. Just because it's at a public sale don't really mean nothing to me. It really just depends on the mood of that person, that seller, what they want to do. When you leave here and you sell a horse here, you've got a check.
yeah,
Now, whether that man don't pay his check to us or he goes outside and says this or that, you've got your check, Todd. You go cash it. You're done with it when that hammer drops. Unless, we do have the 72-hour soundness guarantee, as
right,
long as you've been honest and it's sound, you're good to go. Versus if you sell that horse at home, you've got this guy that comes here and he looks at this horse 3 times. They want to have their trainer come over. They want to have their vet come pass a PPE, but the trainer says, "Oh well, we don't like it because it looked at me funny." You
yeah.
spent 3 days doing this because it looked at that trainer funny. How many times has that happened to you?
Oh, it's happened a lot. Different, just weird stuff. People,
Yeah,
you know, I I had a lady years ago come ride a horse, and this kind of goes with the PPE stuff. And I got several views on the pre-purchase exams, but this lady was an older lady. She hadn't really rode more than a walk and a trot. Came rode a horse. Her and her grandson both. It was muddy, rainy. We went in the parking lot across the street. In 5 minutes, they were both walking, jogging, loping circles, and their trainer never came with them. Then they get the horse vet checked, and the horse was off just a little on one of the flexions. And she says, "Oh, I can't. I can't have that." Horse was sound, no issues. Ends up not buying it, and 2 years later, and probably 20,000 in on pre-purchase exams, she still didn't have a horse.
yeah.
And you know, sometimes, just like in life, you just got, if it feels good, go with it, and you
But
know,
people don't understand that there's not a perfect horse in this world. You can't make one. You know,
oh,
like even the best of the best. I had a sorrel guild not too long ago was the best of the best, but it'll have one or two little quirks to 'em. Every one of
yeah,
them will. you know, and you just have to look past that one bad little thing and look at the big. But reflections and that kind of stuff, man, I'm 30 and I guarantee you, I think I'm in decent health, but I
yeah.
guarantee you I can't flex.
No,
You know?
yeah, you pull my leg up and hold it for 30 seconds a minute. It'd take me 2 minutes to get back. And
Yep.
I can do a decent day's work.
And another reason why I think it's better for a public auction, like we had a man roll in here, he had a really nice mare. He wanted 10,000 for her. She comes in the ring and she does 21-1.
Yeah,
you know, and that happens quite often. I had another man come in, he wanted 3,500 and his horse done like 6,500.
yeah,
Uh we had a at our first sale, we had one and I could have bought the horse for $6,500 at home. Had done 14.8 here.
yeah,
And I kind of felt stupid, but I'm glad they brought the horse and they got
yeah,
that extra money in their pocket. But nobody knows what something's worth. Me and you've talked about it before.
yeah,
Cars pull up a blue book. Guns pull up a book. But a hound, And a horse, you cannot hold a value to.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what they're worth.
Yeah. I
You know,
mean, just even like cattle, you can, if you got a 400-pound black steer, you can get on Virginia
yep.
Department of Ag's thing, and it'll say,
He gonna
you
bring
know,
426. This is what he's
yeah,
worth. I'm gonna give
yeah.
you 420, and I'm gonna make 6 cents.
You might get a little more, a little less, but you ain't gonna talk nobody into giving you,
Or
twice that.
kill market right now, they're bringing $1.80 to $1.90. You know,
Yeah,
you got a 10 cent margin in there, but there's
yeah,
not a horse that rides that nobody knows his value. We all might guess and say, "Well, I'd like to be 3,500. I'd like to be 10,000." But
right.
that next man down the road, he might want to be 500, and he might be want to be 15,000. Nobody truly knows.
And depending on how a horse, I've got a list of probably 10 ladies that they want one that walk, trot, lope, and won't buck them off today, tomorrow, or 6 months from now. And a couple of them, it don't matter what they cost,
Yep.
but they want that guarantee, and that's a hard thing to guarantee because they are living, breathing animals.
They are, and if it's cold outside, I've had some mornings where it pop down about that 20, 25 degrees, and you go out there and try to saddle them. They feel good,
Yep,
and they might wake up with a headache. They might be sore in their back one day, and they'll be perfectly sound. But they was walking out in the field and slept wrong last night, slipped on a blade of wet grass or something. You know, Nobody understands that.
yeah,
Horses are going to be horses. My little girl's got a pony, and that's the best pony in the world. Someday she'll go out there and it'll buck her off once a week, you
yeah.
know, but she gets back on it and rides, and she might ride it for another 2 months and it'd be perfectly fine. You
Well,
never
that's
know.
that's what the old saying is: two kind of people that rode horses, ones that's been bucked off and ones that gonna be bucked off.
Yep.
If
That's
you do it
exactly right.
long.
That's exactly
And,
right.
and another stigma that the auctions get is the kill thing, which to me, with all the rescues out there now, which most of them, in my opinion, are big scams.
Yeah.
But very few horses ever
Man,
anymore go to a kill. People worry about them and want to save them and this and that. What horses are bringing now?
them
Very,
killers are going to bring 40 cents.
yep.
That means if a horse weighs 400 pounds, he's going to bring $400. Any
When's the
more than,
time you bought a horse for 400 or 500 bucks?
yes, that's exactly right. That wasn't blind, crippled, and crazy. You know,
Yes.
everybody, you see a lot of rescues on here. He's 950, and it want $950 for his horse, and he weighs 750. He's thin, and that
Yep.
type of horse don't bring 40 cents. That type of horse out there brings quarter to 20 to 25 cents. And they're like, we're going to ship them next week. I'd hate to know the man on the other side of that actually had to lose that much money.
Yep.
Nobody understands that. And like our deal, we've probably done sold about 900 horses last year in 3 sales, and we didn't have not the first loose horse and not the first horse that was in any kind of close to a bracket of that,
Right.
of what they would actually bring to slaughter. And us, we don't condone it. We don't really want nothing to do with it in that situation. We don't have no killer buyers or anything like that come, but we're also not welcoming in.
Yeah.
We have a Virginia Select horse sale. We expect for people to bring quality horses.
Right.
Uh, but yeah, a lot of people, this they just got a bleeding heart, and these little old ladies are sitting at home and they're sending that that $1,500 to get them out of jail. Then they don't understand that rescue takes that horse and they sell it back at that same sale they bought it for 750 again, and it just recycles itself. The rescues are really the ones making money out of the situation.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm mad at him or jealous that I didn't come up with the idea.
I don't either. And there's one rescue that's in Tennessee, and I will say this: what he says is probably true. And when
Yeah.
he posts them on there, he actually means it.
Yeah.
But there's several other rescues that I see, like up Pennsylvania, Northern Virginia, that are nowhere close to being correct. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh,
and
there's some. girls, which will probably get crucified, but I'll say it anyway. There's some girls there outside of Charlottesville.
Yeah,
They they make more money than all of us ever dream of making. I mean, I've watched them raise 8, 10, 12, 15,000 in 15, 20 minutes on one.
yeah. And the
I mean,
horse
it,
originally cost 900.
yeah,
You
and
know,
probably going on the same truck next week that dropped it off last week.
that's exactly right.
You know,
But
it's
I mean, the market's crazy these days, and just like I mean, like right here at the Farmers Livestock Market in Tazewell, Virginia, it's ranked number two of the highest goat and sheep market in Virginia. And I mean, we was selling sheep in here last night, man, for upwards almost $5 for
yeah.
70 pound lambs. Everything is up right now. And everybody,
Uh,
they come to the market and they say, "Well, I wouldn't give that for that horse. I could have bought it 10 years ago for this much." Yeah, yeah. And that truck out there I'm driving, I believe in 2018, I bought a brand new F-350 for $48,000. Candy apple red, four door, really nice truck. I sold that truck for like 41,000 with two
yeah,
hundred thirty thousand miles on it. My next one right there cost me right at 75,000 for a plain Jane black base model with steel wheels.
yeah.
You know, everything's went up. I mean, this
Oh, I
coach
mean,
right here, I remember when this cost 99 cents or a dollar
yeah,
29. Now it's
yeah,
almost $3. It's
yeah,
not that the horses are high. It's just that's what they're going to cost. It costs something to feed these things and raise them. Just like we was talking about hay. You have a
yeah,
colt that's born to like that Stevie Ray Vaughan colt. That colt stud fees probably what 20. He's out of an own son, so stud fees 2,500 3,000.
yeah.
That much is a decent mare cost to cover something over top of that 5,000.
Oh, yeah. If you're lucky, yeah,
We're 7,500 there. We're going to take and we're going to spend I'm right at 12 months between breeding this and getting this colt on the ground and it being a few days old.
yeah.
Okay, like there's your first year. How much does it cost to feed that mare? Let's say
Probably 1,500 if you can do it for that.
we're like 8,500 right there.
Yeah,
Then you're going to feed that colt for another 6 months at the soonest. Halter break it. That colt right there's got to cost something.
and
You know,
hope you don't get hurt and have to go to the vet or break a leg or you know.
you raise colts. I mean, dude, I've had
Well,
several born in my place, and they put themselves into some sketchy places.
yeah. I bought that stallion last year and I got his first babies on the ground and I hate to even figure up I got 7 mares in foal to them and I got some pretty good deals on some pretty good mares, but
Yeah.
I got a lot of money standing out there in that field and ain't seen a penny of profit yet. And I don't plan on to for several years. I'm hoping it's gonna turn into something good and he produces some nice babies.
Yeah.
But yeah, it takes a while to and raising babies. And I shouldn't say this because I'm in the breeding business. It's a whole lot easier to go buy them. Just like I don't know what this Stevie Ray Vaughan will bring at your horse sale, but you can go buy that colt and look at him and see what he is, and
If it
you know
costs 20,000, you're
you're
still in the
better off.
good, and you know what you're buying. You know he's on
Yep,
the ground.
yep,
Uh, I mean, you look cattle the same way. I mean, these cows out here cost me $3,500. Feed them for and their digestion period is 9 months. Well, it
yeah,
takes 2 months after they have a calf, so you're about 11 and a half months to get another one on the ground. Same way, and everybody tells me I say, "Oh, horses are just hay burners. I wouldn't have them. There ain't no money in them." If I take them cows out there, my good cows, I don't put no bull out there with them, and I just keep these cows, and I throw in a couple steers, and I just look at these cows, and I just go out there and pet them. They're the same exact hay burners that horse is.
oh yeah,
If you've got
yeah,
to, and that's the reason why I got into trading and doing everything I do. It's almost for me. I've got to pay for my own hobby. A hobby's
right,
got to pay for itself. You can't properly take care of these horses if you ain't doing something with them. If
yeah,
you're not showing them, breeding them mares right there, they're actually making money. If you didn't have that stud though, and you just had 7 mares out there, you'd kind of be going in the hole.
oh yeah, yep,
Aren't 10%.
exactly, yep, yep,
But people don't look at that. They look at it like a dog that they just keep at home and they never breed, they never raise a colt out of, that don't make them no money. Cow,
yep.
same way if you don't do it.
we got two French bulldogs here, and I never thought I'd be a little dog person,
Yeah,
but they're I wouldn't be without them now. But I
yeah.
trust me, they're
They're not easy.
yeah. How about tell me a story about the worst one you bought? Some give me a good story about something that you thought was going to be good and turned out terrible. That
I
way
bought one.
everybody knows you're not just out there making all the money.
Here's a really good deal. Uh, I bought one off a really good friend of mine. I was down in Oklahoma, and he told me, he said, Dennis, his horse is great. I rode him. I loved him. He was just the kind. Bred really good, had the shape, size. And he asked me 7,500 for him. I said, dude, let's do 6,500. He said, man, I can't. I said, well, I said, I ain't a gambling man. I said, but I want that horse. He said, let's flip. I said, okay, how you want to flip? He said, 65 or 85. I said, well, I'm feeling pretty lucky. So we flipped. I lost. Ended him over $8,500. I come home about 3 days later. I looked out there in my field, and right there he is, laying dead, flat dog dead.
Yeah,
That was the $8,500 gelding that I truly liked, just
yeah.
laying there in the field. Then I had it. What put the icing on the pudding right there is I had to call somebody and pay them $400 to come dig a hole to bury it. You know what I mean? That even
So
hurt my feelings more.
classic
And I,
case of bad money after good, right?
it is. Nobody actually understands that it. You do make money, but you spend a lot of money.
Yeah,
And not everything goes perfect. They look at that horse that makes $1,500, $2,000, and they're like, "Oh man, this is easy. You're getting rich." And when I started back trading, I guess in about 2019, 2020, really hard and heavy,
uh-huh.
uh, I could go out about anywhere and buy 10 horses. And out of 10 horses, 8 of them would be good.
Yeah,
Any more, them odds are not the same. I go out and I buy 10 horses, and 3 are good, and 7 are not so good. Nobody sits back and looks and say, "Hey, yeah, he made $3,000 off them 3, but them other 7 over here, they lose 2,100."
yeah,
And he didn't. I had to be honest about it when I sold them to the people. I don't care if it's me, you, or anybody. If I sell you a horse today and I say, Todd, this is what he is. He's perfect. He's the kind you'll love him when you get him home.
yeah,
Whenever, and you have it shipped to you over the phone. You unload that horse out of the trailer. If you're any good horseman, within 10 to 15 minutes, you know if I lied to you or not.
yeah.
You agree?
Oh yeah, probably not that long.
And when I sell from the house, I give people 10-day trade back guarantee.
Yeah,
And people will call me. I have a lot of people. I had one woman, she had the horse for 13 months, Todd. The horse died. 13 months. A year and 1 month. She called me and want her money back. She said, the horse, we woke up this morning and the horse fell over, the horse was laying out there in the field, he was dead. And I said, how can you expect me to warranty that? She said, well, you told us the horse was okay. I said, I told you the horse was okay over a year ago. I don't know what you done with it. I don't know what kind of health problems. He could
yeah.
be out there eating battery acid for a
There's
year.
a there's a horse trader which Eddie's still alive. Did you know Eddie Morrison? Him and A Night used to own
Yep.
the Danville horse
Yep.
sale together. Well, Eddie, he used to trade a lot of gated horses. They're probably one of the better gated horse man. I mean, he could get on one, make them things do stuff couldn't anybody else do. He would trade tack. I mean, he'd buy trailer loads of tack, all just anything. Well, he was a probably could have been a used car salesman. He was a slick talker, and he sold this lady a horse, and she took it home. She called him up 3 or 4 days later and said, Eddie. So this dang horse done died. Eddie said, well, damn, he ain't never done that at my house.
Well, that's kind of it. I tell you
Yeah,
another good thing too that really makes or break your sale is your auctioneers.
yeah,
That is your auctioneers, your pedigree readers, and your ringmen. You know, like them boys, it is a art. A lot of people think you can just jump into it. You know, we got Marty Odell coming, and one of Marty's guys he knows really good. He vouched for him. Marty, he done Mount Airy for 20 years,
Oh,
traveling all doing it.
Marty and Travis and all, they can get as much money as anybody can out of it.
Yes, and that you
And
know, when people are buying them, they've got a trusted auctioneer. They got to go fast, but they can't go too fast because then they're slurred up. People can't hear them. You know, the people that go to sales every day can, but the 90% of the general public, you know, it takes a minute to be able to understand what's going on. So,
yeah,
and that Marty's one of the good ones. You know,
yeah,
and he knows the area. He knows what the horses need to bring. He knows the people. That's what it takes. It takes so much that and raising colts. I mean, you're raising colts. You got to have, your studs got to be good. Everything. There's a whole thing of it and how you catalog that horse, sell them at home, showing them, showing horses and selling horses ain't very much different.
yeah. Well, the best thing I like about a public auction, and I sell a lot from home, and I'll post them on Facebook or wherever for sale. 95% of the people, like you said earlier, you probably couldn't give them the horse. They want to know, might have belonged to their neighbor or their buddy or this, or they want to know questions.
Yeah,
And then the few people that are truly interested, you know, it might be 2 weeks before they can come look. It might be a month before their trainer can come. It might they want to do this or that. But I can consign my horse to your sale, and more than likely that night I'm coming home with a check in my pocket.
absolutely. You're gonna call me. You can call me or Landon Maxwell. You're gonna say, "Hey, this is what I got." You're gonna send us pictures and videos. We're gonna consign. We're gonna everywhere in the country. As long as we get you, what you need for that horse when you leave here, whether it's 1 o'clock or 10 o'clock, you're gonna have a check that's gonna be signed Dennis Howry or Landon Maxwell. You're gonna take
Yeah,
it and put it in your bank, and you're gonna be done.
yeah,
Simple as that. Versus I mean, I've been several times sitting at my house. Everybody wonders why people don't want to sell them at home. I almost dread it anymore because people call and say, "Oh yeah, I'm on my way. I'm coming." 4 hours later, nobody's there.
yeah.
You know, but
And I can get my horse ready one time, take it there and show it to 20, 40, 60 people
yep,
that might be interested in it. If there's two people at your sale and one person on the phone or on a computer,
yep,
um, that horse is going to sell. And I have noticed here, horses have brought a lot. I think they've come down a little bit, but people see, you know, Landon sold a black and white paint horse for 15,000. I got a black and white paint horse. Mine ought to be worth 15. Well, Landon's neck rein stopped, loped right off. Yours plow reins and is barely
yep.
broke. Yours isn't worth
His is the
15.
son of Wimpy's
And
little step. There's a difference in them.
people just like cars. You can go buy a '82 Ford Ranger or a '95 F-150 or a
Yep,
2026. They're going to cost different, and even the 2026, if they got heated seats and powers,
alpha motors.
all the extras cost extra.
Yeah, and a lot of I mean, I went to a sale not too long ago, and I had a horse on there. It was a dun horse, and I really was hoping he'd do like 2,800, 3,000.
Yeah,
I went in there. I said, hey man, get me, try to keep me around 3,000. A little cheaper horse. I get in there. The horse brings $7,100.
yeah,
I literally offered him to two or three people outside for $3,000. They didn't take me up on it.
yeah,
That's what the public auction gets you.
yeah,
You know, same way, goat sale. I had a dude call me yesterday. He had 18 goats. He said, "I want 2,500 for him." I said, "I don't know, man. I don't sound too good to me." Get in here. He had a check for $3,800 after sale commission. He made an extra 1,000. If I'd have bought them goats, could have done it. You can't don't I do believe selling stuff at home, but I almost would rather sell it at a sale anymore just for the hassle.
yeah. You know,
Whenever I leave, it's done.
I do a little bit of both, but the horse sales I want to say are a little bit easier. That's for sure. And if you have the right kind of horses, and most of the time they're going to bring what they're worth. And if I had a good buddy of mine, love him like a brother, Joey Hopkins. He had a really nice buckskin mare one time, and he took her to the Memorial Day sale they used to have in Harrisonburg. She brings 5,000. Oh, she's worth more than that. He takes her to Madison. She brings 5,000. Nope. He hauled her to 5 or 6 sales, and every time she brought 5,000. And we took her to the last sale, and I said, Joey, I think you're the only one that thinks she's worth more than 5,000. And he finally
Yeah,
sold her. That's what I think she brought 51 or 5,200. But
yeah,
but that many people tell you your horse is worth 5,000. That's what your horse is worth.
I agree. I agree. And I mean, it's only what you make it though. These
Yep.
sales are only what you make it. If you call the right people, you put in the work, you put in the effort. Anything you do in life, if you make you it is life is what you make it. If you
Yep.
want to go do drugs and stay in jail, just go call your local crackhead and call the sheriff's department. You can go do it. It's pretty simple. If
Yep.
you want to own a horse sale and run a horse sale, you've got to do it good. You got to do it right. You got to be a man of your word. You got to make your consigners stand behind their horses, and you got to make your buyers stand behind
Yep.
your horses. Because when
Well,
they
that's
buy them horses and they go outside, that makes it really difficult. They say, "Oh well, we decided we don't want him." And I've had that happen before. That don't work like that.
yeah.
It's a literally a law abiding situation. When you go in there, it's law binding. When I put
Yep.
my hand up and say I'm in,
Hmm.
that makes you responsible to buy that horse. Unless that horse has a fault that was
Yep.
not stated, that we have a guarantee. That's the only way you're getting out of
Yeah.
it.
Well, I know it's a lot of work, and you guys have done good. And the good thing, like I said, you get the check when you leave there.
Yep.
And I've heard of a lot of places that you have trouble with the checks and this and that, but I've never heard that. You guys are right on them. You don't have to worry about that issue either.
No, we do probably 700-800,000
Yep.
easily each sale. I mean, that's just checks going out, and and I mean, if we ride it, it's going to be good. That makes
Which,
sense.
which I bet you, you know, I haven't had any bad checks in knock on wood forever. And I had another buddy of mine years and years ago. He'd go to horse sale, especially if there was a holiday on a Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah,
He'd buy a trailer load of horses, write you a check, and you know we'd have to partner on gas to get home because he didn't have enough to fill up the tank. And he called it creative financing. He'd get home and hustle them horses, and hopefully he had them. But years ago, before all this computerized got everything, it'd take a
three or
week
four
or two.
days
Yeah, sometimes it'd take a week. You put a holiday in there, you'd have a week to get something done.
floated by. And
Yep.
people do that these days. And I'll be straight up honest with you. If you come here and you ride us a burner, I'm really good with the guys. I'm really good friends with the guys in here in the sheriff's department.
Yep.
We're going to press charges.
Yep.
I don't get to go do that. I don't believe that's right. I'm not going to come to Todd's house. I ain't going to go to Jody's house. I ain't going to go down to McDonald's and write them a check for a cheeseburger and the money not be there.
Yep.
You know, this ain't a life or death situation. You either want the horse or you don't want the horse. Either you got the money or you don't got the money.
Yep.
If you don't have the money, don't put your hand in there because that puts us in a bind.
But
You know, we
I
don't make that much, and we're not going to sit here and eat $10,000 worth of bad checks. I can promise you that.
that's right. That's right. Um, how about as far as the warranties y'all have? What's your warranty when you buy one sound and ready to go?
We got a 72-hour soundness guarantee. That means no crib, no weave. Hit equally on all four. Be good in the wind. Have good clean eyes, and he is not a gelding that will cover your mares. As far as the ride capability, we cannot guarantee that you can ride that horse because we all have different levels of riders. I've got horses that my little girl that's 5 years old can go lope bareback in my riding pen and some people can't even, get on the saddle without falling off.
Yeah.
I've seen it happen too many times. We cannot guarantee the ride of that animal. We
Oh,
cannot guarantee you can get like that animal. I've had horses that just because you got a cat in the barn and they can smell it, old tomcat, and that's something about that smell. They don't like that. They're not going to act correct. Just like me and you, if I'm hateful and because I got to go down here, go shopping at Walmart, and you see me out in Walmart, I'm not going to be that friendly.
yeah.
But if you see me, out at the park, riding my bicycle, which I never do, you can tell from my weight, but I'm going to be a lot more friendlier and I'm going to talk to you. And horses, the same way. Where you put them at is how they're going to act. Some
Yeah.
things they might not like. They might not like the sound of this. Uh, I had a boy, I took him two horses. He lives down in Mississippi, and I had these horses for about 3 months. They was my personal horses. I sold them to him. We tied them up there at his barn. Man, they started flipping backwards. They took off running, went through a fence and everything. I
Hmm.
said, dude, I promise you that ain't right. That ain't them horses. And got to looking around there. He had a fence charger box on the other side of the wall. And them horses could hear that fence charger popping on the
Oh,
inside. And it freaked them out. You know, from the naked eye, if you didn't really look, you would never realize that,
yeah. Yeah.
you know.
Well, no, I think y'all are doing a great job, and the only thing I would change about your sale if it was a few hours closer to me.
Oh, you got plenty of time. You just drive around, call people, get a
Yeah,
plane
yeah,
ticket.
yeah,
If I had your
yeah,
kind of money, I just buy me a little helicopter, drive out here and have them drive a helicopter and have them ship back.
yeah. You know, you go to hell for lying, it's like stealing.
Yes, sir. But like, as far as people can't make it in person, man, we got internet bidding. We got the whole 9 yards. Uh, I've got two or three boys here, got good trucks, nice trailers that can get them hauled to you wherever it is in the country. Uh, we will take care of you.
Okay. Well, sounds great, my friend. I appreciate you doing this, and
Well, thank you
uh,
for having me on.
I'll have to get your partner on here one day, see if he tells a different story.
Oh yeah, don't believe nothing he says. If you need
No.
anything, Mr. Todd, you just give me a call and we'll help you any way we can.
All right, my friend. We'll talk to you later. Thank you, sir.
See you, brother.